has never been published anywhere or read anywhere, and it's titled The Experience of Identical Things. Whatever the hell that is. The Price of Prescience. Houses of landmines, of preachers, of politicians, of lawyers and lovers I must avoid. Naugahyde women with leather pretensions by my side, in my face, at my heart, tasting my sweat, dampening my sheets, echoing moans that batter my walls, this time like every other time. A hallway of indulgences, of pardoners, of executioners, of abstainers, of enablers and seducers I must negotiate. Blindfolded in darkness, obscuring the geography of, fading the photography of, erasing the calligraphy of my vitamin fabulous obsessions. Dead fingers talk, telling tales no one should be forced to hear, unfolding slick gristle maps of slow-bone geography, buying time in wholesale lots from unknown sources for unknown reasons, this time like every other time, Pavlov in love, grabbing at straw men, drooling over memories, crying in private, rollicking the hordes, laying truth to rest, ignoring the treason of actuaries, of glad-handers, of celebrity charwomen, of children with mirror eyes, and night-hawking Yahweh cruising meat markets, breaking promises to Don Juan survivors, refusing the advances of true believers, this time like every other time, and I cannot forget my dreams, and I cannot forget the sold out, and I cannot forget that you and I carry the stench of Gandhi at war, of suckers in love, of sweet baby Jesus, of the hunters and the hunted, and the condemned awaiting their last meals, backs to the wall, counting bullet holes with shackled fingers, sucking up for clemency and swallowing the lies of 1,000 corroborating witnesses, getting off on Rachmaninoff, making it on Muscatel, sliding in between commercial breaks, this time like every other time. One overnight success follows another into Oscar's back room for bone marrow transplants from unknown donors of dubious origin with nothing to lose but their souls, this time like every other time. One overnight follows another into the archive of dead things for memory implants from unremembered pasts of dubious value with nothing to gain but respectability. This time, like every other time, one overnight never was follows another into the hall of mirrors for a dose of reality from sympathetic sadists for reasons of their own with nothing in mind but release. This time, like every other time, a closet of relentlessly wretched excess of unfulfilled promisers, of underpaid sleight of hand artists, of undercover cops, of unashamed mutilators and dedicated scorekeepers I must eliminate with heartless abandon, reduced to a shadow of what I could have been, staring at the mirror with no way to go but out. We're getting real close to no titles. This has a title. Testament Redo. Testament Redux. Let's drink to what would have been, what could have been, what should have been, the real nuclear winter of our discontent. Wine and cheese and bone marrow reveal, jive talk and elegance and blood sausage all around. Pardon me if I sit this one out. I am waiting in the dim light of what passes for explanation, dancing a tired ballet on the capillary fine line between wars, with the skins and the heads and the bones of enemies with no memory of why I am here, stripped and bent and unprotected, abandoned but what little I need, abandoned by what I myself abandoned by myself, and I have it good. I'm not dead. The dead are bewildered by the beauty of their gods. The dead wear their rags as if they were Armani. The dead are writing secrets in last year's ashes. The dead are holding on stubbornly to their final defeat as the thrill of victory cools down enough to feed the children. The dead are waiting for an express, but they will settle for a local. Despite my stockyard heart, I am here, wishing I were somewhere else. Consider. To keep from trembling, I dream I am dense. I dream I am unbreakable. I dream I am dead. Consider. If things don't improve, I will be. It all boils down to this. In the headlights, we're all Bambi. Last fall. No more titles. Baby night glides glides off like some gossamer thread of hope evaporating in this acid dawn. Maybe it stomps away in a hail of garbage flies and broken razor blades, shredding heaven in its devastating disgust. Either way, it's smack, crack, or the goddamn lack, and once it's gone, it don't come back. Despite tender prayers of undying hunger, chanted in marrow mantras of aching servility, mumbled in the sanctuary of darkness, shrieked in shattered mirrors on paint-peeled walls, in windowless rooms without lights. The more guys know this, and the stiff-splayed fingers on the rug sweepers on their hands and knees, and the battalion of the silent, and the crew in the alley, and the snake-lipped kissers, and the scammers in the cheesy diners, and the scratchers, and the herky-jerkers, and the whores who prowl the night questing for some heat, and the shooters, and the sniffers, and the shufflers, and the cutters, and the cookers, and the scrapers, and they all know this. How can they not? And though the dawn burns away the sins of the night in a relentless onslaught of heavenly promise, wielded like tender clubs of open-armed forgiveness by mothers and fathers and sisters and brothers and husbands and wives and children who know no better, this too shall pass. Dreams of forbidden bliss dragged up like stiff, bloodless corpses just one more time, again and again and again, and almost forgotten stories whispered in dark corners of deceit, covered in spiderwebs of fairy tale memory and Dr. Seuss glee, shattered and battered to dust on the cusp of life and death, on the 9th step, in the 8th house, on the road, under the bridge, on the leafless branch of the family tree, on the ragged edge of the frayed cloak of salvation. Nobody escapes unmarked. Every dog wears its collar, and maybe night struts off like a pimp after an unbeatable high roll. Maybe it slinks off like a priest caught in the arms of a sinner. Maybe it just comes and goes like the tides, and maybe it doesn't matter how night gives up the ghost, because give it up it must. No choice, no negation, no negotiation, no way out except out. The simple fact is, it goes, and that leaves you where? We're up to the new stuff. Obsession, egg, scheming, angel, fixated, seduced by preoccupation, remembering the numbers, remembering the numbers, remembering the numbers. The chance of the odd statistics, sacrament 3 simply doesn't matter when you add up the score, face value breakdown, sleep and dream, sleep and dream, sleep and dream, and make it suicidal, and make it homicidal, and make it genocidal, and remember, it's the principle of the thing I promise, lover. A residual halo left over from better days, a call for old forgotten people at face value, the appearance of actual passion, the strained neglected fingers of hotsy-totsy media Nazis in books of devastating neglect, arranged according to the Dewey decimated system. History repeats itself, history repeats itself, history repeats itself like some socioeconomic Eve, like some psychosexual Sybil, like some manic Manson waiting for the stonehead Tyrannosaurus Gandhi, chattering retro-neo-futurist soft hocus pocus focus. I have met the enemy, and he is none of your fucking business. This actually is on the album that the band is releasing soon. It's real short. President murder, resident murder, neighbor, evidence vanish. Sometimes somebody insane, in spite, intention, deliver past due, evidence vanish. No body, no thing. To understand all murder, evidence, understand body, vanish. Resident neighbor, deliver, come due, evidence, murder, again, resident, vanish. On the no roadway to tomorrow, no one talks aloud. They unfold bodies quietly on the floor, hovering and singing in white hawthorn, eyes shut. Nothing can be other on the fossils of your words. Rubber on white stones, along with one meandering straight line. Days of desolation are at hand. We order ourselves another pizza after scraping the hide hairless. You suddenly discover a bird is a flower that blossoms in air. There are no words telling how it is to fly, only when the air is filled with dim light of night. The world is no less dangerous on toes that curve, my quiet countenance of letters and gams, road skin with angelic diversions, rooting in the granite of overpriced possessions, spattered 20th century canvases stretched as with a touch of the primordial void. one word of that is mine. There's a book called On the No Roadway to Tomorrow, which Steve Schrader and I edited, and I just stole the line, one line from each poet.